Welcome to the Look Good, Move Well podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. Satya. What? I kind of want to, like, a banter topic. I have, like, something I want to talk about or share.
Yeah.
But I don't want to just, like, dive into it. I'm trying to think of, like, how do I ask you a similar question? So
let me ask you, Marcus, what's on your mind today?
Nailed it. Okay, well, no, I wanted to share this because I had a conversation with a couple of my best friends this morning, and I told them about this, like, date idea that I had with Megan this weekend. And we didn't plan it. It just kind of happened spontaneously. Yeah. But they were like, "Oh, that's such a fun idea. Like, they want to try that too." And so we had, like, a date planned to go to a show. We did dinner and a show on Saturday night. But when we were, when we, like, sat down to, like, dinner, or, like, even before dinner, I don't exactly remember who initiated it. I'm sure Megan initiated it, but it was like, she asked me, like, kind of a question as if, like, we were going out on a date for the first time. It was kind of like, oh, like, so, you know, like, have you ever been here before? Like, is this, like, the kind of place you go to on a first date, like, with most of the people you date? And, like, we just, like, fell into just, like, this whole role play for, like, the whole night. And it was, like, more from the stance of, like, hey, if this was our first date, how would I ask questions? How would I show up? Like, what would I do to either, like, get this person to like me more, or to, like, really know them better, or to, you know, if I started to sense that there was something, like, there was a connection or chemistry, like, how would I show up with the hope of getting a second date, you know, or progressing things?
How cute.
Yeah, it was very cute. And it was like, it had been something I was thinking about too a lot lately, because sometime last month, like, we, you know, in our marriage, like, I'm not perfect. I don't always say the right thing at the right time. Like, sometimes I let my emotions get the best of me. And, you know, Megan said to me, she was like, hey, would you talk to, like, one of our daughters the way you're talking to me right now? And I was like, oh, geez, absolutely not. Like, hold on, like, quick check, like, that is not how I want to show up right now. But then I took that a little further, and at some point I was like, you know, we're having a discussion, and I'm thinking, like, it comes up in my mind, like, is this how I would talk to you if we were first dating, or is this how I'm talking to you because we've been together for 15 years? Like, what's different?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of assumptions that kind of get built into 15 years of being a partner with somebody.
Yeah.
How, like, and the one that comes up a lot is, like, hey, like, you didn't really ask me about my day. Like, you didn't show a lot of, like, curiosity and, like, what was going on for me. And I'm like, oh, but, like, well, you didn't tell me anything. You didn't share anything. Like, if something's important, just share it with me. It's like, no, I want you to ask. I want you to show, like, that you're curious. And I'm like, well, isn't it assumed, like, at this point, like, we've been married for 10 years, like, you know, and I'm like, would I ever say that on a first date? Would I ever just be like, well, you didn't say anything, so I'm not going to ask any questions? Like, I imagine there's some people out there that think that's cool, but I'm like, oh, I would never do that. Like, you're right. Like, it doesn't matter if we've been married for 15 years, or this is our first date. Like, I am curious. There's no way you know that unless I actually express it and show it. So maybe a date idea, whether you've been with the person for only a couple months or a bunch of years or decades, like, go out on a quote unquote first date. You can even plan it. It's like, hey, this is like, it's fun. Like, on text messages, like, hey, like, I found this place. Like, would you want to meet up there? Like, you know,
do you like this kind of food?
Yeah. And then, like, drive their separate cars, like, and then meet, and then do the thing. I don't know. It was when Ben and Ryan heard about it, they were like, oh, that sounds like fun. Like, that sounds really cool and really interesting from the perspective of, like, hey, how would you interact with somebody if it was the first time meeting? Yeah.
Well, and you can extrapolate that to other relationships too, because the more we get to know people, we just fall into patterns of how we think that they are. And so we never bother to check those assumptions, and people do change. It's like, hey, are you still the same person that I think you are after knowing you for all this time?
Yeah. Do you still want the same things that you wanted back? Yeah. So that's what's on my mind. What's on your mind, Satya?
ABO versus CBO for metascaling.
Right on. Oh man. All the nerds out there just got a real thrill.
Andromeda, Manus, Claude.
Oh gosh.
That's what's on my mind.
I actually feel proud that I know what all those terms mean.
Oh, good for
with
you.
Some level of like understanding. Now, but when you said the thing about Meta, it just immediately brought me back to what you said this morning, that Meta is now not allowing people to pay for ads
on a credit card.
On credit cards.
And the whole thing was like, I just had this vision when we started, really ramping up our ad spend, that like, I was just going to get first class flights everywhere. Like, that was my vision. I was like, at least for all of this blood, sweat, and tears,
Well,
I'll get a first class flight somewhere.
Well, then the thing that came up for me was, I was like, oh shoot, like, do we need to, well, I guess, yeah, no, like, I know other, fitness influencers that basically rack up millions and millions of points on these things, and it's going
get the nice hotel.
Yeah,
and it's going bye.
So yeah, for those trying to figure out what we're talking about, cannot pay for Facebook advertisements or Instagram advertisements on a credit card anymore, which a lot of people who spend money on advertising do it on credit cards, and then let's say you spend $10,000 a month on ads, like you get 40,000 points every single month from American Express.
It's a lot of sweet points.
It's a lot of upgrades. But yeah, so okay, dealing.
Yeah.
Real quick, if you guys want to get built and not burnt, I made a very cool free blueprint just for you. It shows you how to use my 360-10 formula across an entire week, including sample workouts and nutrition. This is the same system that our clients use to lose an average of 5.5 pounds of fat per month. And they're making the most out of just 3 hours in the gym per week. If you have young kids or life is just crazy busy, you've got nagging pain and injuries, and you just can't face going to extremes that used to work before, be sure to check out the free Built Not Burnt blueprint. You can get it at functional-bodybuilding.com/free. All right, well, what are we talking about today, Satya?
All right, so I hung out with my dad on Sunday, and I was asking him more questions about, like, I was curious, like, what was your financial situation growing up? Like, were you middle class? Did you feel like you had what you needed? And started just asking these questions about, like, what it was like for him growing up. And then I started thinking yesterday about my parents and their generation, and how like so many different things have changed in terms of how they relate to the world and culture at large, from how things were, when they grew up and versus how I grew up. And so I started thinking about fitness and how, like, I have particular memories of my parents and the messages that they sort of gave me around what it means to be fit, strong, healthy, like what was in the sort of cultural, atmosphere around fitness and health when my parents were, kind of raising me, and how that has really changed dramatically from the types of messages that I'm trying to give my kids now around health and fitness and wellness. So I thought it'd just be interesting to highlight some of the generational differences, because it sort of speaks to how things move through culture, and then how that relates to our individual experiences.
Gosh, yeah. Yeah, I think when you would introduce this idea to me, I immediately thought, like, okay, well, what's like my past as influence from my parents and their generation? Mm-hmm. What is the current way I look at things? And then what do I think? Like, I think an interesting question to ask is, like, well, when our kids are in our shoes and they have their own families, like, what's going to be important to them?
Yeah.
And will it, like, maybe a lot of that is often influenced by, well, I learned these things from my parents and they really meant a lot to me, or I learned this and I absolutely do not want to replicate what my parents did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what were some of your memories around what your parents did for their own, like, fitness or healthy eating, or like what were some of the things that happened when you were growing up?
Yeah, totally. I mean, both my parents were in the medical world, medical profession.
Yeah.
So my dad was a physician. My mom was a sonographer, or ultrasound technologist. They worked together, and it's not to say that they weren't like in. I don't know. Radiology is an interesting field in that you're really like a doctor's doctor. You're not like so much a patient's doctor. My mom very much interacting with patients every day, performing sonograms, ultrasounds on them. But like ultimately, the reason people go to a radiologist is because their primary care doctor was like, hey, we need you to go get this image so that I can do a better job. Mm-hmm. So my dad is like coaching other doctors like, hey, this is what I saw. So all the doctors in the entire hospital knew my dad. Most patients never knew who he was because they didn't interact with him. A lot did, but all that's just to say, like, they were not dealing, like, my dad wasn't a primary care physician dealing with like people showing up with chronic illness and stuff like that, and giving them any type of lifestyle advice or, health and daily wellness. Yes, like now primary care physicians will say like, hey, you should exercise, you should eat better, you should do X, Y, and Z. My dad was never in the business of doing that. So that wasn't part of his like core medical professional opinions. And now he was suffering from what a lot of people suffer for, which is like work a lot, got young kids. And I recall like at some point my dad got pretty overweight, my dad's 6 foot. I think maybe at his heaviest, he was like 230, maybe 240 pounds, so he was, and it wasn't like strong weight because he wasn't exercising a lot. So I do recall there being a time where my dad had to lose weight. And most of what I know about it came later on in life when he like shared some of the things. But I remember very specifically, there was like this phase where there was basically like a diet protocol that was in the medical community. And it was like what they used at the hospital that they worked at. It was basically this like, I think it was like this tomato cabbage soup diet that they put a lot of their clients, like a lot of the patients on to help them lose weight. If it was like to lose enough weight so they could go and have gastric bypass surgery or whatever, like and it was basically like a big vat of like tomato cabbage. It was just a huge thing of vegetable soup that was relatively bland. And you would basically eat that and I think some protein. And it's like, so tons of food volume, like lots of vegetables, low calorie, nutrient dense, not very calorie dense. And you would like do that like for 2 meals, or you'd have that for like 2 or 3 meals. And then there was maybe like a shake you would have, like like an Ensure type shake. I can't remember exactly. I remember there being a lot of diet beverages in the house, like that. There was a clear transition, like where everything was diet beverage, and there was tons of diet Tab cola.
Tab.
Diet Coke then came into play.
Yeah.
There was a whole phase where like the Snackwells brand, which was basically like the zero fat treat type foods that were low calorie came out. I remember those floating around our house a lot. And then, and then my dad going through an exercise, routine, which was like he started exercising, which I think was just a morning jog. I don't remember him doing anything else. I do remember him getting up early and going for a jog, putting on his Fila tracksuit.
Oh, nice.
That's so sick. Yeah. And then going out early in the morning before he left for for work. Yeah. And I remember there being a time where I was like, this was when we lived in San Francisco, which I have a very limited memory of because we moved when I was 6 years old. But he would get up and lace up, go out for a run around this. We lived in a townhouse, so it was like this townhouse community. I don't know how far he would run. I don't think it was very far. Maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. I'm not sure. But I wanted to go with him. I was like, Dad, I want to wake up and go with you. And so he woke me up. I think he woke my brother up. I think we went with him and we ran. I don't know if it was more than once. It might have just been one time.
One time.
But we did that, which is cute to think about because I'm like, I can think about, Noah and Joey wanting to like like they know daddy gets up early.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, can we get up with you and go do whatever you do? And I'm always like, really? You want to? I've never actually woken them up to like go and join me on, a morning workout or anything, but they've said like, oh, I'm so curious. What does daddy do before we're up?
Yeah.
So yeah, those were like the main things. My mom didn't, from what I recall, didn't do anything for her fitness. Like she played some tennis. She was pretty active. She, later on, she liked, when we moved to Marin, like years later, she liked to go for walks and hikes. There's a lot of hiking and walking that she would do, but nothing formal exercise. And the idea of like, what was healthy eating, like, could there be a vegetable on the table at dinner? And, whether it was steamed broccoli or steamed Brussels sprouts, just like drowning in ranch dressing, it was whatever it was to like get us to potentially eat some. But no, I just don't remember much else outside of that from a health perspective. So there was the tomato cabbage soup diet.
Yep.
There was the, maybe runs in the morning, and that was it. And they certainly applauded us, me being in, youth athletics and being on teams, but not for like, hey, we want you to be out there being active. It was never like, we want you to get some activity in or be playing a sport or, it was like, oh, you want to do that? Cool. Love that you're having fun and you're great at this thing that you're playing.
Yeah. Fascinating.
It was fascinating. So very minimal. I never saw a weight,
Yeah. I was thinking about that too, because I have this memory of there being like a couple dumbbells in my house,
but
really? I cannot remember anyone actually using them. It was just sort of
there was actually a time where like there was an adjustable weight that got put into our house.
Right?
I don't know who was using it.
Who did anything?
Actually, wow. Were there other exercise like equipment things in the house?
I don't know. Maybe like a yoga ball, but like
okay, yeah, we had a yoga ball.
Or like we had a mini trampoline at one point.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. No treadmill or anything like that?
No, we never had a treadmill.
We did have a treadmill. We had a treadmill at one point. But we actually had the funniest one. I'm remembering this. There was like the machine. It was so totally off like an infomercial, but you sit on.
Oh, wait. Okay, go ahead.
Not the gazelle from Tony Little. I wish we had that. No, this one was, and for those people who are watching on YouTube, I'm going to demo it.
Is this the Suzanne Summers?
What was that?
The Thigh Master?
The Thigh Master also did not have that. Instead, we had the one where you sit, there's like a foot pedal, and then there's like a handle, and you basically like pull it in and thrust your hips forward. It like looks like you're it's a very strange machine.
What's that supposed to do?
I'm not sure. It's like you're rowing. You're like you're doing squat leg press type thing. You're doing a hip thrust. It was fascinating. Like I don't know where it went too, because like I wish that thing was still in the base.
We could make so much good content.
I will look it up.
Maybe we can get one on eBay.
Oh my god! Just straight up thrusting. Yeah, we had that. I don't think I actually ever saw anybody using it, but my dad, when we had a treadmill, he crushed the treadmill.
Really?
Yeah, he would treadmill because he was always watching. Now that I come to think of it, like my dad's had the same evening routine for his, like my whole life. It's like 5 o'clock, as soon as he's eaten some food, it's like TV shows right up until it's time for bed. And he used to just walk while he was watching shows.
Yeah.
He'd get 90 minutes of like incline walking.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's really good. I mean, and then everything went downhill after he got rid of the treadmill.
See, I mean, you gotta have your walking routine, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah. Okay, that's fascinating. That brought back some memories for me too, because remember like the V8 diet where people would just like drink V8, like that's.
That's basically what
that's the cabbage
tomato soup diet. Yeah.
Right. And then there's also like I remember the shake diet. That was big. So when I was growing up, I was trying to think like, okay, what did my parents do for fitness? Like, my dad used to do karate with my brother.
Oh, nice.
But then that stopped at a certain point, and then he never did a single thing for his fitness or his strength that I can recall in my entire life after that, until now he's in his 80s and he does Tai Chi.
Oh, fascinating.
He was never like super overweight. Like he's tall and sort of has a thin body composition, but you know, carried some extra belly fat, but just never, I don't remember him walking, running, strength training, nothing after that. And my mom, she was always a walker. She would always get out for walks, but don't remember her doing any kind of strength training. I remember her doing some sort of jazzercise, like aerobic type thing, and I would go with her sometimes to the classes, and that was actually like really fun, but it never really seemed to stick for a long time. And then it was just walking like that. There was no model for me growing up about strength training or sports or athletics or anything really. And I was only active really because I did horseback riding and I did dance, because those were just two things as a young girl I was super into. And then for food, we were kind of a hippie family, and so there was a lot of like vegetarian tofu types of situations. And then at a certain point, my parents started incorporating chicken and fish. So it was like just lean proteins, but like pretty healthy food. But my mom would always cook dinner. And so it was kind of a mix of those sort of healthier types of recipes. And then like just some classic Italian, you know, your like eggplant Parmesan, your chicken Parmesan, your pasta with sauce, and, you know, but we always had a salad on the table growing up, and we usually had a veggie as well. So I grew up remembering that like there were things that I didn't really like to eat vegetable wise, but then just because they were around so much, I started eating them and enjoying them later. Yeah.
That's good.
And my mom was not really overweight, but she wasn't thin either. She was just like a very normal body type. Like I would say she was extremely normal. But I remember her having sort of like, oh, like, should I try to like lose my tummy, or, you know, like being conscious of it. But I don't remember her like dieting specifically, except like we did have some of those like diet soda SnackWell type situations. Around.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't actually ever remember my mom having any, like, I don't even know what her relationship to her body was like. She didn't talk about it. It wasn't a thing. She was very, I think, well, actually looking back on photographs, like she looked very, very relatively fit, like fit body. Like she always had muscular, like toned legs, and, you know, so similarly, like her arms always looked, my mom has like crazy veins like on her forearms, and like,
is that where you get it?
That's where people say like, oh, you just gonna get that from her. Maybe I do. But yeah. And then I didn't even, like, the only reason I know that my dad was overweight and dieting was, one, looking back and seeing pictures, and then two, remembering the cabbage soup diet. Like, that's the only thing I remember. I mean, I knew he ran, but that could have been for any reason. Like he was just trying to be healthy. Yeah. But yeah, it was not something it was like a big emphasis in our house.
Right.
For sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think the seed of health, or like, you know, got planted just later on for me with just like my own exploration in the gym. And then mostly from my older cousin, who is like really getting into the science of nutrition and training. And I heard some things that he said, and I was like, oh, this will get me more jacked fast. And so then I went down like learning about some of that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything from my like childhood that I brought into like, this is what health means going forward, like from my family, you know. And it wasn't even like like I was applauded for playing sports because it was like I was having some success. I was quote unquote good at the soccer. I was good at the golf, but it wasn't like, I'm so glad that you're out there just like moving your body and playing the game. And
was it more like social status types of things instead of like health?
Oh, wait, say the question again?
Like if you were playing sports growing up, like what in particular was like the admiration that you got from that, you know?
Yeah, status, like, more status.
Yeah.
You know, like proud of you for winning,
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
proud of you for like having such a good game, for getting the game ball because you did good and had a home run or whatever. Not like, hey, proud of you for working so hard on this thing. Proud of you because you decided you wanted to stop playing and you want to do something else. Like, good for you for just knowing what you want or anything like that.
Yeah. So then how do you take the things that you've learned from your own exploration of fitness, and what messages are you trying to convey to your kids now?
Yeah. I mean, I'll start with probably strength, just wanting our girls to see that mom and dad are trying to be strong.
Yeah.
It's kind of the main word we come back to. We don't say fit. We don't say exercise. We say, we're just trying to get strong. And just about every choice that they see us making that they have questions about comes back to like being strong. It's like, you know, they hear the word protein. It's like, well, why does that matter? Like, why are we even talking about like eating some protein? It's like, oh, because that's how you build a strong body. It's important. Without it, you don't have a strong body. It's like, or how about, you know, like, oh, we're always going to the gym. Like, why are you guys going to the gym? Oh, we want to build muscle. We want to build muscle. Be strong. Like, both my kids know how to flex their bicep. Like, they know what that is, you know, and they call it like their eggies, like the eggies.
Yeah.
Daddy, let me see your eggie, you know? And so, yeah, it's like, that's what makes us, you know, being strong helps us in a lot of ways. When they are the things that they're interested in, I try and like talk about how being strong helps that stuff. Like, you know, Noah's really into her dancing right now and her dance team. And it's like, oh, you know, being strong helps that. Joey, there was like a period of time where Joey was like having, you know, pain in her legs. Who knows what the pain was? Maybe she was just getting sore. She was getting fatigued on the soccer field. Maybe it was from, you know, just like she wasn't recovering well. It's like talking about why we need to, you know, let's have some more, you know, this type of food. Like, let's get some good nutritious food. Like, I talk about nutritious and delicious, like, oh, something might be delicious, but we also want to balance that out with some nutritious stuff. Like, what's nutritious? This is nutritious. And maybe sometimes it's both. Yeah, those are like the big things that we try and talk about. One of the things that we try and avoid talking about are weight, body image, you know, macros and calories. And yeah, like any type of like negative self-image or, you know, that language just remains in the adult conversations or no conversations around the kids at all.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to like pretend that I don't have that or Megan doesn't have those like feelings, but it's like also those are very adult concepts that were seeded early on, you know, at some point. And it's like, we don't need them thinking about that before it happens, you know, organically in their life. And it's probably going to happen in an environment that is around their friends or around social acceptance or something that we're going to be mindful of and, you know, be prepared to have a conversation about it. And also, it's, I mean, I guess it's even starting to some degree. It's like you hear that somebody's using the word fat to describe somebody or they're watching a show on, you know, like on Netflix or something like that, which we try and be pretty selective because it's like, it's so interesting at this age where they're getting into like they're not in like the kiddie, like, you know, cartoons. It's now they want to watch like, you know, these shows with
characters or real people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they're very much like preteen, teenage types of shows that they're interested in. It's like the topics that come up are like, you know, making fun of a kid at school and they use certain language. And it's like, oh, they're hearing that. How do we address that?
Yeah.
You know? It's like, and so it's hard. It's super hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one thing I share is just a focus on strength for sure and muscle and how important that is for like not only your physical well-being, but your mental well-being, having an outlet to feel like you can push hard and accomplish things and build your confidence. And I've just tried to like model that without pressuring my kids to take part in that. But both of them have started to take an interest in trying it for themselves. And whatever physical activity they're interested in, we encourage, and they go for lots of hikes and biking, and my daughter does parkour, and of course my son trains now. So they're getting an appreciation for movement and how important it is to be strong. I'm very careful also at home because they do see me weighing and tracking my food, and they've asked like, oh, why are you doing that? And I say to make sure that I'm eating enough for what I want to do with my body. And that's the absolute truth. So it's not about like restriction or I'm on a diet. Like it's not like I use those words. They know about protein, and they're both kind of like beanpole body types, tall and skinny. And so it's funny because like the conversation around their bodies that they bring up is like, oh, am I eating enough? Like, am I, too skinny? And I try to just frame it like, does your body have what it needs to do what you want, and to grow and to be healthy? Like, are you getting, foods that help your overall body, basically? Yeah. But it's funny because they'll weigh themselves, and then Pascal will be like really pumped if she like gains a little bit of weight. She's like, yes, I gained like 2 ounces or something. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We use a lot of the same language, and I certainly, around like, are we getting enough food? Like, why would you measure something? Just making sure like I get enough for my body and get all the things I need to feel strong and do what I want to do. And I've also like, I have actually one thing, and this is like a value or a belief that I have. It's not validated by tons, but just what I've seen is that, food, I love food and how it can be like this thing that brings people together. But I know that in my childhood, like food was very central to like anything communal. And then, so a lot of like good core memories ended up being like comforting, like nurturing core memories were around food. And there was always a focus on food. And so I think that maybe in my life, it like reinforced that food is comforting. Food is the thing to go to when you are having any type of hard time, or anytime you're with people, it has to be food central and more focus on food. And I think that is problematic can be problematic for people, where it's like life is focused on food rather than focused on other fulfilling things that are out there. Spend more time thinking about food, you're going to end up consuming more food. And then that can start the cycle where, okay, anytime you run into some challenge or pain or suffering in your lifetime, you're going to resort to food. So with kids, like our kids, like they're very not food focused. Like they're at ages where, or maybe like how our first 7-8 years with them have gone, it's like they could care less about food, and they'll take a few bites and then be gone. And it's like, I have fought the typical parent, urge to be like, no guys, come on over here. Like, you got to sit down. You got to eat your thing. Like, you can't do the next thing until you finish this. Like, or you can have this when you had this, and like clear your plate, like all this stuff around like making, I'm like, and at times, like we've both been concerned, like, are they just getting enough? Like they're barely eating any. How are they surviving? Like they take 2 bites in the morning. They don't eat their lunches because it's coming back in their freaking backpacks. Like, and then at dinner, they're like having a little bit. It's like, what's going on? And then 3 days later, they'll like be eating everything in sight because it's caught up to them. And I'm like, oh, shouldn't we be trying to balance that out? And I've sort of just leaned away from that. I'm like, you know what? Like, same. I think they're just going to know what to do. And I would much rather have them, like, if they're feeling down or they're feeling bored or they're feeling something, that they go and get creative and go and try and figure out something to do with their bodies or with their minds or with their creativity that is not attached to food at all.
Yeah.
So I've kind of just been like, oh, like, you don't want to eat? Like, I'll offer a couple times, but after that, like, I'm not making a big deal out of it. Like, you'll come when you're really hungry.
Totally.
And I'll try and give best options. But if you're like, I just want a little bit of this, and then they eat like half a bag of popcorn and then they bounce, I'm like, that's fine. Like, the growth charts show you're still growing. Like, you're still, and you're, you know, for the most part, like, could you be building more muscle and more strength and better bone health and like with a bit more optimal diet? Probably. Could we end up with better sleep patterns and, you know, fewer emotional dysregulations if you had more consistent food? Like, for sure. Is it worth the fight right now? And is it worth like trying to make life all about the meals and the food and finishing your food? I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm very grateful that strength training has become more prevalent. And building muscle is like cool now.
Yeah.
And also that, like, you know, we know more now about protein and how to manage body composition versus it felt like there was a lot of like wild, chaotic guessing when I was growing up.
Yeah. Well, one final thought. Is there anything about what you think your kids will look back on from their childhood and be like, oh yeah, my parents did all this, but I'm definitely not going to teach my kids that, or I definitely want to teach my kids that?
I think, and I hope that the prevalence of training in their lives and being at the gym, being around the gym, seeing me strength training themselves, I hope that continues to make an impression on them. And I get little whiffs of it, like, you know, that like I'm known as like the strong mom, or, you know, like among my kids' friends or whatever. And that it feels good. It feels good to them. It feels good to me, you know, that it's like, I feel like I'm setting a good example, and I just hope that continues to stay really positive in their lives, and that it doesn't turn into something at any point. I don't know how it would, but, you know, like, oh, like I'm going to rebel against that. You know?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I think for me, it's like, I hope that our kids see in the future, they can look back and be like, oh yeah, like mom and dad taught us like the foundations of like being strong and having a healthy and fit lifestyle, and that they don't look back and see like my dedication to that part of life, which is like way beyond what anybody really would require to be healthy. And like I, you know, it's like
you don't have to go that far.
You don't have to go that far. I hope they don't like see that as like an unhealthy obsession. Like, oh, it got in the way of like him being our dad. He was too obsessed with something. Because I don't want that to be like the thing that makes him say like, I'm not doing that. Like, you know, my dad had an unhealthy obsession with a couple things, or my mom had an unhealthy obsession with a few things. I don't ever want to do that in my life. And I don't ever want to expose my kids to that. It's like, oh, well, this is a really important foundation course that we believe. And so I want them to take the good and then see that like, oh, that was just he didn't go and play golf every day. He went and worked out. Like, that's just how he liked to get his kicks. So good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was a good topic today, Satya. I hope everyone got something from that, and definitely curious to hear what y'all are doing, those parents out there, and anybody else that wants to speak up who, you know, learned something in their childhood. It'd be cool to hear some messages back from y'all if you want to send us some DMs, and love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
And until then, we'll see you guys on the next episode.